In today's video, I'm going to help you get clear on your HR career, write the vision and make it plain, and also take control of your HR career. Hey guys, and welcome back to HR Talks with Leash. I hope you're all doing well. Tip number one is to do some self-reflection. Now, it's really important for you to understand what it is that you want from your career. By doing this self-reflection, you may not even want to be in HR, who knows? But it's really important that you get very clear on your beliefs, your skill set, the strengths and weaknesses you have, your passion, the impact that you want to make. You know, you need to know what this is, and you need to just take some time out to really think about it in order to take the next step when it comes to planning what your HR career is going to look like. So I think that it's important to ask yourself a few questions. First of all, why do you want to get into HR? And if you are in HR already, why are you in HR? What is the meaning of you being in HR? What's your purpose behind it? Really take the time to think about that, because this is going to help you to create what your career growth plan should look like as well. Because I'm sure that if your purpose is strong and it's something that, you know, you're kind of like, you know, you want to be in HR because you want to support organizations in creating a better place for employees to work. Let's just say that that's your purpose, right? Then that actually plays a part into what areas of HR potentially you should be in based on what your purpose is. So it's important to really think about what that is and why you are in HR. Also, you need to think about what kind of impact you're trying to make. Again, this is going to be very crucial in your career growth planning, because if you have a feeling or an understanding of what impact you want to make, then you can look at ways in your career to help support you to make that impact. So think about that. Think about your passions, and also don't just think about this in a career sense. Think about this outside of work as well. So think about this in your general life as well. What's your passions? What's the impact you want to make? What's the environment that you work best in as well? Think about these kind of questions too. I would also say it's important to think about your strengths and weaknesses. What would you say that you are really good at as a HR professional, or in other areas of your life as well? What would you say are the weaknesses? Because then you can see straight away what potentially are the skills gaps and what you need to do to support yourself in fulfilling and making sure that you can get to certain gaps if, let's say, a skill that you're not too good at right now is something that you aspire to be good at, because you know you need to be good at that to get to the next level, let's say. So it's really important to do this assessment so that you just have more of an understanding about who you are at this point. Also think about your values as well, because your values are really important, and what you stand by. If you're working in a certain company that potentially doesn't stand by that, then how are you going to work best in that kind of environment? So really think about what you value and what you would potentially want to see out of organizations that you would go to if you're looking for new jobs, or even if you're at an organization right now, what are your values right now? And is that organization living up to those values, and can you work in that environment? So it's important to think about all these things. And I think self-reflection is something that we should be doing at all times of the year. I would recommend that you do it on a quarterly basis, just so that you can have a look on how the last quarter has gone for you. It's a continuous journey when it comes to self-reflection and development. So once you've done your self-reflection piece, I would say the next thing that you should really be looking into is self-assessments. Self-assessments are tools that you can use to support you if potentially you're not sure what your kind of characteristics are, what you would say your personality is, or like the skills that you have at the moment. If you're a bit confused as to what that looks like, then you might want to do a skills assessment before you do all of the reflection stuff, because that can then help you with doing the reflection. But again, I think doing a skills assessment, if you're not sure on these areas, it will really be beneficial. And within these skills assessments, basically what happens is they'll give you a number of statements that you will answer on a certain scale. Potentially that scale will be from unlikely to likely. And then you will just rate yourself based on that. Usually these tests take about 20 minutes or so on average for you to do, and you could have questions ranging from 50 to 100 different questions for you to answer. Once you've done these assessments, then it will create a report, and that report usually categorizes your behaviors into potentially 4 different sectors, and then it will show you things that you're you're not as good in, or you don't have so many characteristics in those other areas based on what you've answered. So it can actually help you with the reflection piece to understand, okay, I'm not as efficient in these areas, maybe this is something I want to work on, so how can I do that? So I think taking these kind of assessments are really, really beneficial. So I have put some links in the description below for some assessments. I've taken some recently as well, just to help me with understanding who I am as an individual. There are some that you can get that are paid as well. You've probably heard of the Gallup Strengths Finder. This is a really popular one. It is paid. You do have to pay for it. I think it's probably about £30 or so to do it, but there is different levels and different packages, so if you want to have a look into that, please feel free to do so. Your workplaces might actually invest in this also for you, so you might be able to do this through your workplace. I've actually done one through mine, so I've had a look at what the results were of mine, and I'm actually utilizing that in my career planning at the moment. So definitely I would recommend you do some type of self-assessment of yourself when it comes to your strengths, your weaknesses, your personality type, and just your character in general. So after that, I would also recommend you, if you're a CIPD member, please listen up, because this is for you. You should be doing the CIPD self-assessment. So this is actually within the CIPD Learning Hub. And if you're a member, you have access to a learning plan where you're able to take assessments based on the CIPD profession map. So based on the core behaviors, the specialist knowledge, and also the core knowledge areas, you can actually take a self-assessment on each one, and it will go through statements based on if you are emerging in that skill or the task that it's telling you about in the statement, or if you are already kind of exceeding in that already. So it gives you a scale on how confident you feel like you are for each statement, and then based on that, it will actually create an action plan for you. So it will tell you, I'll give you an example. I did an organizational development and design assessment because I'm very interested in going into that, so I thought it made sense. So I did that, and it then gave me some action points based on the answers that I gave in the assessment on what I should be working on. So for example, it told me that I could go and look at a resource within the CIPD on organizational development and design, just to understand more about the concepts within it. It told me that there are actions I could do after reading those resources, and then I could go into the workplace and speak to my manager about implementing some of those and speaking to them about feedback. So I would say that this is a very, very useful resource, as I'm actually using the action points that it told me in my learning plan, in my career growth plan, so that I can help myself with trying to fill that skills gap that I have between where I'm at now and where I want to be in terms of being an organizational development and design partner. So this can be really, really helpful for you, and there's a range of different assessments that you can take. I'm telling you, when I saw this, I was like, wow, what a resource, and I hope that members are already utilizing this. But if you're not, please, I've put the link down in the description below so that you can sign into the Learning Hub and start your learning plan. And also there's self-reflection elements within this plan as well, so you can actually self-reflect on how your process is going when it comes to taking action on trying to fill those skills gaps. Alongside that, there are also 20 courses that the CIPD have. I think they're about 90 minutes long, but some might be shorter than others. And it's self-paced, and you can do a range of different courses on a load of topics within HR, on, again, the specialist knowledge areas, the core behaviors, and the core knowledge areas as well. So I definitely take advantage of that and add this into your career growth plan. So if you're not a CIPD member, please don't worry, because we still have the CIPD profession map. This is available to anybody who goes onto the CIPD website, and it has a list of all of the core knowledge, the core behaviors, and the specialist knowledge areas, where it tells you, depending on which level you potentially are at, what is required for you to do to be able to get to that skill. So you can do a self-assessment yourself by just going through the CIPD profession map resources. There's also many resources on the CIPD that explain each of the profession maps in detail, and how they should be implemented into your HR career, and on your development plan. So I would say utilize this resource, create your own action points and plans of action to close any skill gaps or try and get yourself to another level. So once you've done the CIPD assessments and you've had a look at that, I would then say the next thing for you to do is to have a look at your skills development and gaps that you may have when it comes to the different HR roles that are available to you. Now, a great resource to really understand how you can create a HR career path for yourself is looking at the AIHR Career Map. So I would recommend that you go to the website, you visit it, you have a look around. But with the career map, which I've linked down below, this is a great resource for you. I was actually watching a video by AIHR on YouTube, and they mentioned that they have up to 90 avenues that you could go down when it comes to planning out your career map. And this ranges from many different levels of seniority and many different aspects of HR as well. And they also split HR roles into specific skill and knowledge areas as well. So you can really see, based on your assessment of yourself and the skills that you obtain already, where you potentially might fit in. So what I would say when it comes to the skills development piece and really trying to advance in your skills is understanding where you're at right now. So you could be at any level, really. So you could be somebody who's just entering HR and you're trying to figure out your path at the moment. When I say just entering HR, that could be completely from entry level, coming straight from uni into HR, or you could be in a different career altogether and you just want to move into HR and you're trying to figure out what avenue makes more sense for you. You could be somebody who's in HR right now and you want to move into another role. You're either trying to move up the ladder in a linear fashion, or you're trying to go into a different specialism altogether. So you might be going from learning and development to employee relations. Who knows what you want to do, right? Let's just give that as an example. Or you could be somebody who is actually really happy in the role that they're at right now. You're really competent in it and you just want to excel as much as you can and become a real expert in the role that you're doing right now. So it doesn't matter what stage you're at when it comes to your career development in HR. We all need to have a look at the skills required to take us to that next level, whatever that level may be. So I think it's important to have a look at these different avenues that you could take your career down and see what you need to be doing in order to level up your skill set in that specific area. And I would say, don't even just look at your next level, look at the level you're trying to get to in the future as well, and have a look at what that requires, because that's going to give you some inspiration to get to that point. Even though you're not going to be able to jump from where you are right now to that point, because it takes some time to get to these levels, you still can be inspired as to what that looks like. For example, let's say for me, I would love to be a HR consultant, right? A senior one at that too, and have my own consultancy, which I've mentioned quite a few times on this channel. In order for me to still be inspired day in, day out, I follow a lot of HR consultants on LinkedIn. I'm always listening to different podcasts in regards to becoming a HR consultant. Even though I'm not there right yet, I'm still being inspired by what that means. And I'm actually looking at the skills I need to get to that level too. Even though right now, my next step really, it would be great to be like an organizational design and development specialist. So I'm still looking at what I need to do to get there, but I'm also keeping the big goal in mind, because everything that I'm working on right now is going to be in correlation to the big goal. So my final point then would be, once you've done all of the skills development, you've done your self-reflection, you've done your assessments as well, you've got all of that research and that information ready, it's time to make your plan. Now, personally, I think it makes sense to make 90-day plans and work in that way, so working quarterly, just because, let's say you've got a goal that you want to reach in the next year, you could actually have 4 main goals over the next year to help you to get to the bigger goal that you want for yourself by, let's say, 2025. Once you've finished that 90-day sprint, it kind of gives you more, motivation and inspiration maybe to get something complete, rather than just saying that you've got one goal that you want to reach in 1 year and, you you spend more time sometimes on doing things, more time than you actually need to, because you've said, yeah, I've just got this one goal to reach next year, instead of breaking that one goal into quarterly goals to be able to potentially even achieve more. You might actually reach the goal that you want to do in a year in the 90 days. You just don't know. So that's why I think it's good to work in 90 days. If anyone wants to, they should read the 12-week year. Yeah, the 12-week year. That's a really, really good book, I think. And it basically breaks down how you can actually reach yearly goals that you plan for yourself in 12 weeks. It's kind of a similar concept. So yeah, I would definitely recommend working in 90-day sprints. I think it just makes sense to do so. So building the plan, I think when you're working in the 90-day sprints, after the 90 days has gone and you've either reached the goal or there's still things to work on, but you have reached the milestone, I would treat yourself, like be treating yourself. We are always working. There's so much things going on all the time. If you can treat yourself, do it. Like for me, I've said to myself, next year in 2024, I am trying to have more self-care in my routines. I feel like I've neglected it so much. So I'm going to be doing my quarterly spa treatments. I'm going to be doing a spa after I've reached a certain goal. Or you could, take yourself out. You might want to go out to eat somewhere fancy, or you might want to buy yourself something. You might want to catch a flight. Who knows, right? I just think you should be incorporating some downtime, because we can't always be working. We have to be working and we have to play as well, because this life is hard and we just need to be balancing everything that we do. So that's what I would recommend. And that's the end of the video. I really hope that everything that I've just mentioned is going to help you kickstart your HR career plan for 2024 if you don't have one already. And if you do have one, there might be some extra things that you can think about and consider to put into that plan. So I am actually going to be making a resource to help and support anyone who is in HR to achieve their HR career development goals, because I think sometimes us in HR, we neglect our own career, and this is why I'm here. I am here to support you as HR professionals to build yourself in your HR careers. And I think it's essential that we have certain plans of action that we are following to get to our goals. So I want to create something that's specific to HR, because I know there's so many different career development plan booklets that you can get out there that are generic, but something that's dedicated to HR, I think that's going to even give you much more motivation and inspiration to achieve your goals. So thank you so much for watching today's video. I hope you enjoyed it and you've taken some key takeaways from it, and I will see you in my next video.